Who's ready to receive? You guys ready to receive? All right. I believe the blessings are going to flow if you're ready to receive. And man, Rob, we can just call it a wrap right now, right? I mean, you just got to listen to him for 5 minutes. You want to go out and do something big, right? I'll tell you what. So here's what I would hope for today. You know, like Rob said, there's a process for acquiring skills. I want to make you aware of the skills today. And what you're going to do is you're going to have an opportunity based on your actions to take your awareness of the skills and move that to command of the skills. You know how you do that? By going out and doing it. Okay? Is that fair for everybody today? So what we're going to impart onto you, you have to go apply it, right? That's our jumping off point. Is that fair? Can we all agree that that's a fair starting point? Okay, perfect. And actually, as a side note, so, you know, what Rob was doing at the start today was trying to help all of us understand what we have our hands on is a better way. That's not an opinion, it's a fact. Along that same line, write this down, please. This is a website I want you to go to and watch a movie that Eric Worre just put out. We got to take a look at it yesterday. It'll be free until tomorrow night. And it's just going to kind of show you what Rob's talking about. You're going to hear from some of the sharpest business minds commenting on this video. It's called risemovie.com. 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 The real title of the movie is Rise of the Entrepreneur. And I'll tell you what I believe, folks. I believe that we are on the verge of the new industrial revolution. We are on the verge. Times are forced to change. We get to pioneer it. We get to lead it. Think of names you've heard of, like Getty, Ford, Rockefeller, some of these names that created legacies and dynasties for their families. Why? They were on the leading edge of ushering in the first industrial revolution. You know what? The people in this room today, we're on the leading edge of ushering in the next industrial revolution. What we do to provide and win economically for our families has now required to change. And we have an opportunity to usher in that change. And that's exciting for me, right? Is that exciting for any of you guys?
Oh, absolutely.
Right? We all understand being in the right place at the right time. Well, guess what? Here we are. Here we are. So, I want to ask you guys a few questions. Because here's what I'll tell you, right? Again, some of those names I already referenced, like Henry Ford. Mike McCleary and I were just talking about Henry Ford a little bit last week. Do you think that, and Mike reminded me, you know, that what he's really to be credited for is not necessarily the automobile. It is the pioneering of the assembly line concept, right? So, what I want to ask you guys is, do you think he was committed to that process, or do you think that there was a lot of contingencies in in that process for him? Somebody answer. Help me with the hard ones. Committed, right? I mean, unwaveringly committed, right? Do you think? Do you guys think? Okay, so I have a question for you guys. I should probably get, you know, I really prepared a lot of notes, and I'm going to try to do my best to get through them all without taking all the time. And much further down in my notes, I put a bunch of asterisks in all capitals. I put the word warning. But I probably should just do it now. Can I wrestle with you guys a little bit today? Yeah, sure. Is that okay? Yeah. I will. First of all, for those of you that don't know me, I pray that we get an opportunity to know each other so that you can learn. My heart is just genuine, and I want to share with what I know will help you. But I don't want to share anything that's gonna ruffle any feathers. So can I just get a show of hands? Can I just be really real with you guys? If I don't see every hand, I'm not doing it. I'm gonna water it down. Well, I'm just saying, because let's look at, this is the warm bath. This is an environment of love. This is an environment where you're here so that we can pour into you and love on you and try to help everyone in this room, myself included, Rob included. We want everybody to grow. And so I don't want to present any content that's gonna limit that process for anybody. So that's why I'm asking for a unanimous show of hands, okay? So since I think we got a total unanimous vote, I hope, I'm going to ask you guys some questions. Here's the first question. Are you guys building FGXpress or are you building it because?
Because.
Are you building this business or are you building it because? Are you building FGX if a certain person comes into your business? Or are you building it because you want to be that person that can say yes to your family's dreams? Are you building FGX if the people you consider leaders do or don't do certain things? Or are you building it because you want to become a leader who's got an opportunity to positively impact the lives of thousands of people? If or because?
Because.
Are you building your FGX business if? This is going to be a rough one. Are you building your FGX business if you have a certain financial outcome by a certain date? Or are you building it because you're ready to put an end to finances controlling your life and dictating your decisions?
Because.
Are you building your FGX business if you can find the time? Or are you building this business because you're finally ready to gain control of time so you can spend it with the people you care about most? Because. Can we make today about because?
Because.
Today is going to be about because. So here's the deal. There's a huge difference, guys and gals. There's a huge difference between not winning, but you're trying, and not winning because you're not trying. There's a huge difference between not winning, but you're trying, and not winning because you're not trying. Guys, this business, for as much as we can come and try to sow into you and try to help facilitate the skill development process, the victory is still achieved on the field. You guys with me? The victory is still achieved on the field and only on the field. Okay, we can't win. What Troy reiterated today on the slide, it's impossible to have floor level income with nosebleed effort. It's impossible to have floor level results with nosebleed effort. I hate to break it to y'all. This is not a spectator business. We got to get in the game. We've got to get in the game. Here's what I know. Here's what I was convicted of as I was preparing my notes for today. The only people who are getting better results than me in this business right now are the ones who are positively impacting more lives than me. That's it. That's it. And that can be applied to all of us. The only people getting better results in this business right now than anyone in this room are the ones who are positively impacting more lives than any of us. That's it. In a nutshell, that's this business. So here's what I want you guys to know. Because, our minds are really amazing things, and by the same token, we can do whatever we set our minds to. If we're not careful about how we set our minds, we can also let our minds convince us of a lot of inaccurate things, right? What did it say on the Rise movie that we watched on the way home last night? That you could be sincere and be wrong.
Sincerely wrong.
So you'd still be sincerely wrong. So being sincere isn't everything, right? We still got to be accurate in what we're sincere about. So here's what I'm sincere about, what you all need to know. The harvest is not the reward for better seed, it's the reward for sowing. The harvest is not the reward for a better plow, it's the reward for plowing. The harvest is not the reward for a faster or stronger ox, it's the reward for continuing to push. You guys need to understand something. Is this thing perfect yet? No. Will any business that involves people ever be perfect? No. Because we're in pre-launch, is there a whole lot of opportunities to say this should be like that and I wish it was like that? Yes. But you know what? That's not what the harvest comes from.
That's right.
The harvest doesn't come from a better widget, better way, better mousetrap, better whiz-bang approach. It doesn't come from any of that. The harvest comes from taking action, staying the course, sweating a little bit, right? Pushing the plow, right? I hope I'm not boring all you guys. I know I don't have anything hocus pocus and revolutionary, but what I've got is the truth. What I've got is the truth. Here's what y'all need to know. This part's in all caps, so I think it's important. Every single person participating in this training, whether you're here in the room right now or you're watching it, maybe the recording, every single person participating in this training right now already has every advantage you need to build a fabulous FGX business. You know why? Because you're here. You're in. You're already on board. Your advantage is that you're in the right place at the right time with the right people. You've got the advantage. So what I know we all need to do is stop looking for a different angle and a different advantage and go run with the advantage we got.
That's right.
Pastor Rocky's not feeling well today, and I wish he was here, but he said something so powerful to me the other day. He said his heart was convicted to stop saying, you know, is this really the right seed? And instead start to say, what are you doing with the seed that's in your hand? What are you doing with the seed that's already in your hand? Right? You know why I know that each and every person in here already has all of the advantages in the marketplace you need to be wildly successful with FGX? You know why? Because you've already connected with a better vision for you in your family's future. Because if not, you wouldn't be here. Yes or yes? Yes. Right? I mean, if there wasn't something that you saw that could be a better outcome than what you're getting now for you and your family, isn't it safe to say that not one of you would, as much as we love hanging out with Rob and Lisa and being in this beautiful home, not one of us would be here right now. Yes or yes? Yes, right. Right? So that's how I know that everybody already has the advantage that you need. You're in the right place at the right time with the right people, and you're here, right? So guess what? Now it's time to stop overthinking, stop overanalyzing, stop overpreparing, stop overfeeding your doubt and excuses, and start just taking action. Start taking action. What are we on the verge of? What's next week? Thanksgiving. What comes shortly after Thanksgiving? And then what's right after Christmas? And what comes along with New Year's every single year? Resolutions, folks. Here's what I propose for the rest of my little bit of time that I get to share with you. We're going to spend the rest of this time laying a foundation to start right now today on our New Year's resolution. How many of you guys want a breakthrough in 2015? Yeah. How many of you guys want 2015, maybe for once, to be different than January and the entire year 2014 and the entire year 2013. Are you guys ready for a breakthrough? Yes. You guys want to start working on that now? Right now? Yeah. Okay, so that's what we're going to do for the rest of this time today. We're going to do some equipping, and I'm going to get into some specific action steps we can take right now to set us up for the victory in 2015. Is that cool? Yes. All right. So here's what I still want to try to, bring this home. Guys, you have the advantage, and here's how I know why. You know how many cool and actually true success stories there are that are literally thousands of years old of people who have achieved unbelievable victory when all they had was the odds stacked against them? There's a bunch of them out there, guys. How about the one of a gal named Ruth who was homeless? But because of her faithfulness, she went on to give birth to a family lineage that led to a king named David, who was a mere runt of a kid. He took out a giant armed with only a slingshot and a couple of stones. Right. Do you think the odds were in favor of that happening? No! The matriarch that kicked off that family lineage was homeless. Come on, right? The odds are in our favor. How about the one of a boy named Joseph, who had nothing more than a dream that he 100% believed in, which ultimately got him sold into slavery, then thrown into jail, but yet he went on to become one of the most influential people in the world. Woo! Do you think the odds were in his favor? Or were they stacked against him? They were stacked against him. How about the guy named Nehemiah, who had a vision to rebuild a war-torn city, having literally none of the resources it would take to get that job done. Not one for such a monumental undertaking. Even the people who he had a little bit of influence with thought he was nuts. They did. They thought he was crazy. Yet, you know what? Because of his resolve, he reached out to a king who, mind you, did not share any of the values and beliefs of Nehemiah. Not one. In fact, he would be what you would call opposing to anything that Nehemiah stood for. Yet, because he was clear in his resolve and what he wanted to do, he went ahead and made the ask. How many times have we heard that before, folks? He went ahead and made the ask of this king who just as easily could have had him killed, right? I don't think any of the people that we're going to reach out to share this business are in a position where they're going to kill us. Nehemiah reached out to this king who just as easily could have said, "How dare you? I'm going to have you killed." You know what? The king granted his request. He received the resources he needed. And the city was not only rebuilt, mind you, it was rebuilt in magnificent fashion. Folks, that we could just talk for the rest of the weekend about success stories that are out there of people who had nothing but the odds stacked against them. But guess what? They achieved the victory. Guys, we got the odds in our favor. We have such a head start over the stories that I'm referring to. So being out in Las Vegas yesterday was a really powerful reminder to me. We got to be around some of the industry's top leaders, and we got to hear from some of the top leaders. And I want you guys to know this. I've never heard a single top earner credit their success to creating a better mousetrap. I hope you guys weren't coming here today expecting a better mousetrap. We don't have it. We don't have it. We've already got it. If you're part of FGXpress, you've already got the better mousetrap. You know what I've heard every leader who I've ever had the blessing to be mentored by in this industry echo, and they all have the same story. You know what they all credit their success to? Not a better mousetrap, but their ability to catch mice. Not one of them will tell of their success story about how once they created that better mousetrap, then they started catching mice. You won't find one. They're not out there. They just set their minds to catching mice, and they went after it. And you know what? The process for catching mice could literally look different for each and every single person in this room, minus one thing: effort. There will be no catching of mice without effort. Am I sounding like a broken record yet? It just won't happen without action, guys and gals. I'm reminded of actually somebody who I got to kind of witness through back when I was in college. A guy named Jim Sullivan. Became friends with his daughter, and I finished my college up in a small town called Chico, and that's mostly like kind of a farming town and a college town. There's really nothing else up there. And what's interesting, why Jim Sullivan came to mind for me is that they were locals. They lived in Chico, and he ran an almond orchard. Actually, he had two huge orchards, one for walnuts and one for almonds. And he was what many would consider in the town extremely successful. But you know what? Behind the scenes, you know what people didn't realize? He inherited those orchards with all of the equipment he needed for the orchards. He inherited all of it. It was established before him. And all those things he inherited had zero to do with his success. Nothing. They had nothing to do with his success. You know what his success was credited to? Going out at 2 in the morning and spraying down the crops, because when a freeze came, you got to protect the crops. You know what his success was attributed to? Staying out at night till 11 p.m. fixing a water pipe, because the crops need to be watered at the same time every day if you're gonna get a good yield and a good harvest. Right? So his circumstances that led up to his moment had nothing to do with his success. And he's another person that would be considered having had a head start. He had an advantage. He inherited all this. He inherited these 100-acre orchards and this family lineage that had established, these beautiful orchards. Yet if he didn't go do the work, there would be no harvest. He wouldn't have been deemed successful. That was really eye-opening to me to see that, because I always thought, you know what, you got to get your lucky break. Guess what, folks? You know what your lucky break is? Hi, you're here. It's today. It's right now. You've got your lucky break. Is that worth a woohoo?
Yeah.
Woo-hoo! You guys have got your lucky break. So here we go. If you want 2015 to be different, right now is the time to start taking action. Here's the first action we need to take. Get crystal clear on your why. Get crystal clear on your why. How many of you have a dream sheet, dream board, dream description? Not the guys in the car yesterday, that would be cheating, right? So a few of you do. The rest of you need to. And I'm speaking only because a lot of us got convicted yesterday. It was awesome when we drove and we made such great use of our drive time, and Rob kind of challenged us and took us through sort of a mental and emotional process yesterday of getting real clear on our why. And it was pretty fun because, we started off and we were talking about, if you go all the way with this thing and you have just like immeasurable abundance, to take off the Boy Scout hat for a minute, and what would you do? What kind of car would you drive? What kind of house would you live in? And we went through this process, and it was fun because Rob kept sounding the buzzer on us. No, that's not specific enough. Like, oh yeah, I drive this. No, man, what color? What kind of interior? What color is the interior? What are the rims? But I'm telling you, this was a powerful process. There is a success principle that says without vision, people perish. In other words, if we don't have vision, if we don't get clear, it's the same thing as our why. If we don't really latch on to where we're trying to go, we're not likely to get there. You want to know why Rob is such a powerful leader and there is fruit of success in his life? because he has mastered the skill. And mistake this not, folks. This is a skill that all of us, really especially me, need to tune into. He has mastered the skill of vision. Vision is not a whimsical thing. I was going to bring it and I forgot it, but I'm reading a book right now called The Power of Focus. And in that book, it talks about how back in the day, when we talk about the idea of a vision, it's not the way we use that term today. Today, the concept of the word vision is very whimsical. It's very touchy-feely. It's not tangible. In the true context of the word vision, it actually really means a very specific, finite, detailed set of action steps to get you to a desired destination. That's what a vision is. And so that's a skill that can be acquired, and what the mind can believe we can achieve, right? And so going through these motions and the repetitions, like Rob clearly has it. Well, this was powerful. Who was in the band yesterday? Was that powerful for you or not? Right? Gerard's back there. Mike's back there. There's a few. Oh my goodness, Adrian's over there. I was like, wow, because Rob kept saying, no, that's not clear enough. You've got to smell the leather in that car. You've got to see the interior. You've got to see the look on your wife's face or your spouse's face or your kid's face when you can deliver your why. Spend some time, folks. The thing that I bet you all of us spend too little time on is meditating on our why, to where we can gain that mental clarity for what that looks like. But my goodness, is it powerful, and his life is evidence of it. I'm telling you. Rob's got a lot of skills, a lot of gifting, a huge heart, but I would venture to say that the outcomes from all of those other things would probably be much more limited if he had not honed the skill of vision. This is a skill that all of us need to practice, is get really, really crystal clear on what that why looks like when it's brought to fruition. Mm-hmm. Cool? Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm learning this like in no other way that I ever have. This, man, this is the part that always gets tough for me to talk about, and I don't know why. It's because it's inspiring. At the age of 12, with a vision for what she's working so hard for, that's so clear. Man, I'm sorry, it just rattles me. I can't talk about it, but it's so powerful. It is so powerful. And what we can learn from watching our kids, right? Mm-hmm. We can learn a lot. Mm-hmm. So, man, that's just a step that's not to be overlooked, okay, is that vision. Here's what follows the vision, because when the vision gets clear, we're able to take action like maniacs. And that's the word I wrote. We can go seed the field like maniacs. Because here's what I learned yesterday being at that GoPro conference, and I touched on this a little bit today on the FGX family call, but I'll tell you, it was just so powerful to watch these under 30-year-old 7-figure earners that, my goodness, you just, like I said, if you put a curtain in front of them and all you were listening to was the words they were saying and you didn't know their age and you didn't see by their appearance how young they really were, you never would have guessed it in a million years. And the one thing they all had in common was massive action. At some point, they made a decision and they said they drew a line in the sand. And at that point, they changed their behavior. And the change in behavior ultimately was massive action. Massive action. But they got clear on the why. And that was part of the exercise that Rob took us through yesterday, was not only the visualization of the tangible blessings and benefits of what we will achieve, also the visualization of who loses if you don't. Who loses if you don't fulfill your potential with what you've got your hands on right now? If you get clear on a why, I promise you this, somebody loses. You will realize someone loses, because you know what a real why is, folks? It can't be about you. A real why doesn't start and end with you. There will be other people exponentially more blessed by your why coming to fruition than you. That is a fact. And if that is a fact, then those same people stand to lose drastically if your why does not get brought to pass. You guys with me? Are you following me?
Yep.
Am I Buzzkill Billy, or is this helping you guys? You guys following me on this? So getting really crystal clear. And so, you know what? Here's one of the most powerful things about getting clear on our why right now and then taking massive action running into the new year. Because it's a fact that the average decision requires 7 exposures, right? Guys, this business is not built around, again, a Jedi mind trick. Rob can't teach you a Jedi mind trick. I can't teach you a Jedi mind trick. We don't have a greater ability to persuade people into the business. This is what everybody said from that stage. We've just done more of it in a shorter period of time. The way Eric Worre defines the difference between pros at this business and amateurs is he says that the pros just move their prospects through those 7 touches faster than amateurs. They just move their prospects through those 7 touches faster than amateurs. But just because they're pros doesn't mean their prospects require fewer than 7 touches. So if we want 2015 to look different, here's what we must do. We must run hard now and seed the field like crazy so that as those 7 touches are occurring early in the process in 2015, we can set ourselves up for a harvest like none that we've ever had before in 2015. Does that make sense to you guys? Yes or yes?
Yes.
Or yes?
Yes.
Okay. So this leads to my next little step, and then I'm going to try to come in for a landing. Here's what I need you guys to know. Let's be honest, okay? Can we? I should have asked for this at the beginning too. Can we just? There's no predisposing, prejudging, or any of that happening in this room today. Is that fair? Can we agree with that? No one's judging anybody. I need unanimous buy-in, or I'm not going forward. Yes? No one's judging anybody. Okay? How many of you guys truly, genuinely have a very specific action plan that you're working off of right now? How many of you guys have a plan, an action plan, a detailed set of steps, an action plan you're working off of to build your business right now? How many of you do? Okay, it's less than 15% of the room. Here's what I need you to know out of love. And again, Ryan was convicted of this recently, and that's why this is what I'm sharing with you guys. I've been in this industry for almost 10 years. I've had some level of success relative to the industry as a whole. Probably puts us in the top 5%. Now, I'm not tooting my horn. I'm just saying, even someone like me who has made it through this industry, and I've been neglecting to do this, so I'm convicted. But here's what you need to know. And you've all heard this before. Lack of a plan will always lead to lack of results. Lack of a plan will always lead to lack of results. Here's what a plan kind of sounds like, guys and gals. It's not as ambiguous as you think. Who are the people on your list? What is your plan for contacting each of those people on your list? What days of the week have you set aside to contact the people on your list? What times of the day will you contact the people on your list? What will you say when you contact the people on your list? How will you contact the people on your list? Will you send them a text? Will you call them? Will you invite them to the 5-Star Friday call? Will you email them a video? When will you follow up? How will you schedule the follow-up? How will you remember to do the follow-up? See, these are all the questions we need to answer to know we really have a plan. Okay, just like vision, not ambiguous. Plan, not ambiguous. Not very generic, not in general. You know, it's great to say that you're going to contact 2 people a week. That's not a plan. That is not a plan. If you're going to contact 2 people a day, is there a list in advance? Have you looked at those people, thought about your relationship with them, and thought about what's the best mechanism to contact them? Have you thought about what you know about them and what are the best things to share with them? Have you maybe even formulated some in advance kind of scripts or bullet points of what you'll say to them specifically? How I might approach Johnny P might be entirely different than how I approach Janet, right? Which might be entirely different for how I would approach Adriana, right? So, folks, we've got to put some thought. This is a business that can transform our lives and the lives of other people. It's so not worth going through it haphazardly. Yes or yes?
Yes.
Are your dreams worth a plan?
Yes.
I hope so. So we need to have a plan. You guys have all heard this expression too. Failing to plan is the same exact thing as planning to fail. Ooh, that kind of hurts when it comes out like that, doesn't it? I mean, do any of us plan to fail? No. But failing to plan is the exact same thing. Failing to plan is the exact same thing as planning to fail. So here's the 4 steps. Here are the 4 steps to make 2015 magical for each and every person in this room. Ready? Starting today. Number 1, build a brand new list of at least 100 people who you will contact between now and January 1st. No exceptions. If we're going to run hard, I'm giving you a formula. This is what I'm doing, and this is a formula that I promise you will result in momentum. I promise you. Build a list of 100 people that you will absolutely contact between now and the end of the year. Here's what I want to tell you. Saying that you don't have 100 people is not an acceptable response. That might sound harsh, but it's not. Let me give you some ideas. Anybody heard of a website called Zillow or Redfin or Trulia?
Yeah.
Here's what I want you to know. Oh, I love it. Oh, that was some cool music. Anyway, here's what I want you guys to know. Here's what we witnessed in our first endeavor in network marketing. It was in a company called Monami. You know where we watched the majority of the 7-figure earners come from who had never done network marketing before? Somebody take a guess. Real estate. How many of you guys want an unlimited pool of targeted prospects? Unlimited pool of targeted prospects. Folks, real estate agents, I am one, so I can say this without offending anybody. I am one. Real estate agents are a dime a dozen, and they're 100% accessible. Do you realize my phone's, right while we're doing this, my cell phone's blowing up? Because what do realtors use for their business line? Their cell phone. Real estate agents are so accessible. They're entrepreneurial. They understand making a proper investment to launch a business. They're generally speaking go-getters. They're generally speaking money motivated. That's why they got into real estate. They generally speaking have good people skills or they wouldn't stay in real estate. Folks, you want an unlimited pool of highly targeted prospects? I just gave it to you. Jump on Trulia. You can build a list of 100 names this afternoon. Jump on Zillow. Jump on Redfin. Right? Jump on yellowpages.com. It's not just realtors either.
What are they again? Trulia?
Trulia.com. Trulia. You know, do this. I'm not going to go through all the websites. Just go type in whatever your city is and the word real estate behind it. I promise you in Google you'll get all of the popular websites that come up where you can find contact info and names and actually even listings of real estate agents. Right? And then you can have a really cool common sense conversation with them. Because you know what? I'll promise you right now, you will get their attention if you find them online. It means that they've got something going on in real estate. Either they're paying for advertising or they've got a listing. In most cases, they've got a listing. You want to know how to get a realtor's attention?
Go to open house.
Hey Ryan, this is Joe. Hey, I just saw your listing on Zillow and I wanted to call and just introduce myself to you. Folks, I'm telling you, as real estate agents, you just got their attention. You just got their attention. I'm just telling you. You guys want some predictable outcomes. I'm giving you the formula. You know, here's all you say next. I can tell you're obviously in the game. I'm led to believe that means you have goals and you're out there doing it. And I just want to know one thing. Do you have a game plan to make 2015 your best year yet? And then you just simply say this. Because I'm getting to another point and then I'll bring this in for landing, I promise. Is this helpful for everybody, by the way?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So here's the next sentence in your script. Listen, I don't know if I can play a role in that or not. I guess actually I would say this first. I'd say, listen, I don't have anything to sell you. And I don't know if I can play a role in that or not. But if you're open to it, I'd love to sit down with you for coffee and find out if we might be able to team up and make 2015 our best year ever by working together. Here's what I'll tell you. Now here's what I promise you. Rob, correct me if I'm wrong. Because you know Rob's got like uber real estate experience as well. So you're talking to two guys that between us, we've probably got thousands of transactions under our belt. And here's what I'll tell you. The ones that are not receptive to this approach, you don't want in your business anyway. And the ones who will do well in your FGX business will be open-minded enough that they'll probably be willing to sit down with you. I'm just telling you, the ones who will do well as a teammate of ours in this family with FGXpress, who can take your business to a whole new level, will be receptive to this approach. And the ones who are so close-minded that they're going to be snotty with you and just get off the phone, you didn't want them in your business anyway. You're not out anything. Folks, this approach right here, I just gave you guys like an unlimited prospect list and a script that will, if you did nothing else, other than use this as a prospect list and use this one little script and then call me or call Rob or call one of us that have been in real estate if you want to kind of fine tune your script. I promise you could build an all-star business. Am I wrong or am I right? It's okay. Right. You're not going to de-edify me if I'm off base.
You're 100% right.
Okay, I'm just making sure. I kind of figured he'd say that, but you know, we're going to be real. We're going to be real with you guys. We're going to be absolutely 100% real with you guys. So step one, build that list of 100 people that you absolutely will, not try, not intend, that you will contact between now and the end of the year. Step two, reach out to them and make an invite to either have coffee if they're local or have a conversation if they're not. And we're going to talk, I think, a little bit about this. I don't have it in my plan, but I think we'll talk about the texting strategy that we learned yesterday, right? Yeah. Somebody, one of us will. So we're going to talk to you about a strategy that we learned, but I'm not going to do it now, okay? But step two is just make the invite, and we will teach you something that is catching crazy traction. Eric Worre's got, you know, tens of thousands of people that are following his strategies, and this is working brilliantly, right? A way that you can approach people via text, right? Because a lot more people are willing to send a text than pick up the phone. Step three. So step two, make the invite. Step three, this one's probably going to shock you guys. I kind of already hinted to it actually in the real estate script. Here's what step three is, especially if these are people in your phone, like in your warm market. Because how many of you guys, let me get a show of hands, how many of you, absolutely no exaggerating, how many of you have already contacted every single person in your cell phone? Okay, thank you all for being honest, right? So before we get into my real estate strategy, we got to contact the people in our phones. And if they're in our phone, is it safe to assume that we probably have some level of rapport or relationship with them? So here's what step three is. Once you've sent the appointment either for a phone call or a meeting, like get together for coffee or whatever, here it goes. It's going to shock all of you. This comes right from Eric Worre. It's not a game plan to talk about your business, folks. It's about relationships. You know what you're going to do? You're going to find out what's going on with them. You're going to find out what they want to be different in 2015. And you're going to share with them what your vision is to make things different for you and your family in 2015. And here's what Eric Worre teaches, and I promise you will happen for each of you. Somewhere in that intersection of learning about what they really want to see be better in 2015 and you sharing what you're going to strive to make better in 2015, those two things are going to come together. And there's going to be a high potential that you'll find some common denominators where they may take a look at our business. And if they don't, ain't it great? Folks, you need to get one thing down in your belly of bellies right now. Life is bigger than building your FGX business, and relationships supersede any kind of financial outcome that this business can bring us. And so if nothing else, you haven't lost anything by that time you spent having coffee with people. You strengthened a relationship. And maybe there's no tangible FGX outcome from that particular phone call or meeting, but you know what there is? There's a stronger relationship that might come full circle at some point down the road that actually did lay the foundation for them to join your business because you reached out. Because you just reached out without an agenda other than to say, hey, what are you dreaming about for 2015? What were you hoping would come to pass in 2014 that didn't?
That's good right there.
You know?
That's good.
What was it that you talked about probably on January 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 10th of it wasn't in November, I promise you. People aren't talking about, this is what's going to be cool, folks. Watch this. This will catch the attention if you do this. People are not talking about their New Year's resolutions yet. They're not. They're just not. Most people probably talked about their 2014 New Year's resolutions sometime maybe in January or February. And so this will be a unique conversation, and you're going to get their attention right off the bat. They're going to think to themselves, wow, man, you're already thinking ahead to 2015. That's really cool, right? And just ask them, right? There's no script for this, folks. Be you. You know the best part of your FGXpress business? You. Just be you. Just be you. And just ask them. You know, what were some of the things that you really were hoping that would play out a little bit better in 2014 than what they actually did? And then just listen. You don't got to think about the next thing to say. Everything that you need to say next will come from their answer to that one question. I promise. I promise. Is this still helpful for you guys?
Yes.
Or do I need to hurry up? I'm going to hurry up anyway. I don't want to take all the time. Step 4. This is where I would say, I basically just wrote it like this, set a 3-way call. So out of this dialogue about, you know, what they see themselves wanting to improve in 2015, and then you sharing a little bit about what, and understand something real quick, let me clarify. When you share about your vision for 2015, don't make that all about FGX. In fact, don't make that anything about FGX at all. Trust me on this. We're not bamboozling people. Trust me on this. This is about human connection. So here's how mine might sound. You know what? I know my wife's peace of mind goes to a whole new level if we had 6 months cash in a safe at the house, and we don't have that yet. We got closer in 2014, but we're not all the way there yet. So that's one of the things I'm really believing I'm going to accomplish in 2015. That had nothing to do with FGX, right? That had nothing to do with FGX, right? So it's going to be things like that. You know, my kids and my wife and I have really been talking about taking a trip to Atlantis. We want to take a vacation to Atlantis. We didn't get to do that in 2014, but I believe we're going to be able to position ourselves to do that in 2015. This circles all the way back to your why, by the way, folks, because if you've got some things you've honed in on your why and they're intriguing, more likely than not, the people that you're talking to and sitting down with are going to go, man, that's Atlantis. How are you going to do that? I'm glad you asked, right? They will open the door to talking about FGX. You don't need to force that. You don't need to force that. Just have a friendly dialogue, right? Does that make sense? So you sharing your vision for 2015 is not all about FGX. In fact, like I said, I would stay away from any FGXpress references until the very end of it. And now here's how my transition to a three-way call would probably sound. Let's just say, he just always got such a great smile, and he's recording, but and his red shirt. I'm just going to use Johnny as an example. So say Johnny and I reconnected. I sent him a text and said, hey bro, we need to catch up. What time's good for you this week that we can sit down for coffee? Which, by the way, that's one of the scripts that Eric Worre teaches. And Johnny texts me back, and we set our appointment, and we have coffee. And through that conversation, there's some things that came up that were intriguing, and I would simply say it like this. I would say, so Johnny, let me ask you a question, bro. If I could introduce you to a group of people that I've decided to start doing life with, that are just, man, high caliber, salt of the earth, humble, quality, I'm actually guilty. I haven't introduced you to them sooner, quite frankly, bro, because these are such cool people. But let me just ask you, if I really believe I found a group of people that can help me achieve the things I just shared with you that I want to be different in 2015, and if those same people could potentially help you share, and now this is where I'm going to be specific. I'm going to say, if they could help you achieve paying your house off, getting rid of those car payments, whatever Johnny shares with me, if those same people could help you do those things, could you think of any reason why you wouldn't be willing to maybe jump on the phone with me for 15 minutes and let me introduce you to one of them? That's it. That's it. That's the simple script. Not about product and FDA and all those things are great, folks, but it's a people business. It's just a people business. You just set a three-way call. That just allowed you to set a three-way call. That's the 4 steps. That's the 4 action steps that everybody can come out of that front door today to take, starting today, to make sure that your impact, your outcome is different in 2015. Does that make sense to everybody?
Oh, yeah.
So, you know what? So let me just ask you this. I have a few more notes. How are we doing on time, bro?
Good.
Are we okay?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys doing okay?
Yeah.
All right, I've got a few more things. I'm going to get into it. You can stop it right there, but just know this, right? So you've got a great talking point. You've got a game plan now, right? Does this feel like a little bit more of a plan, those 4 steps we just did, than most of you had walking in here today?
Yeah.
Awesome. Guys, if you will run this plan for 45, even to 60 days, we can get into January 15th and still utilize this approach, right? I promise you will lay the foundation for momentum, as momentum is always where the results come from. This business is not mathematically possible to generate significant results without momentum. That's not bad news. It's good news because I'm giving you a formula for momentum. But it won't happen, right? Because if we want outcomes, we got to get clear on what needs to go in to get something out, right? So a significant amount of activity in a condensed period of time has to go in order to get momentum out. And if you want to see your income, and that can be different for all of us, but if you want to see your income go to a new level in your life, you need different momentum than what you've had in your past. And it's this condensed, massive action that's going to allow you to spark off some momentum, okay? So, here's the one thing I want to just touch on. So if the conversation gets into a wrestling match and they want to, they're just forcing the issue. Like, well, bro, how would you do that? Or why are you so sure of yourself? Or how do you know those people really can do it? See, this is why I feel like it's so powerful to just make it about, if I found some really quality people, man, that I really believe are going to help me get there, and if they would be willing to help you get to where you're trying to go also, can you think of a reason why it wouldn't be cool to do a 15-minute call where I could introduce you to them? You're not likely to get objections to that. Not the same objections, right? Here's the one script I have for you that you can use. This is what I would say back, and you guys have probably heard Rob say this before. I'd say, bro, let me ask you a question. Are you more committed to your why, or are you more committed to the vehicle? Like, what do you care? What do you care what the vehicle is if we can change the outcomes for you and your family? And this is where you've got to be willing to just, in love, wrestle with people a little bit, right? In your own way. Maybe you say it with a laugh. Maybe you say it depending on your prospect, right? I might say it a little softer to Janet than I do to Johnny, right? To Janet, I might say, Janet, what does the cubicle at Qualcomm really care about how you achieve your family's dreams, right? And if someone's going to be ornery and complain to me, well, bro, you already know my calendar's full. I'm going to go, bro, why are you defending the vehicle more than the why? What do you care? If I can help you, me and a group of people, help you take a little bit of extra time and turn it into a different outcome, why would you be so opposed to that, right? The vehicle is not what matters. It's the outcome that people want. You guys following me? Yep. But sometimes we got to be willing to wrestle with people a little bit. We're going to talk about a strategy for using text messages to set appointments. Okay? And just know this. That is an entire, almost 1 hour training that you can access for free from Eric Worre on YouTube. And the name of the video is this: The Biggest Recruiting Breakthrough in Network Marketing in 10 Years. That's the name of the video. The Biggest Recruiting Breakthrough in Network Marketing in 10 Years. Just go Google that. It'll come up in YouTube, and it's almost an entire hour training where he'll really take you through all of the nuts and bolts on how they're seeing, like the title says, breakthroughs using this text messaging approach to set appointments.
Can you say it one more time?
The biggest recruiting breakthrough in network marketing in 10 years. Okay. Last but not least, here we go. I'm going to go through it really fast because I feel bad. I'm stealing all the time. This is where the warning was written previously, so here it is again. I'm going to give you guys one last warning. I'm just going to get real with you guys for a minute, and here it goes. Listen, here's what you guys all need to know. It's not a lack of knowledge that's holding anyone in this room back right now. It's not a lack of knowledge that's holding anyone in this room back right now. How many of you guys, your FGXpress business is 100% where you want it to be? Okay, so this is the good news I have for you. It's not a lack of knowledge that's holding you back. Network marketing in general, and FGXpress specifically, is 100% a leadership-driven business. And leaders are found, they're not made. That's powerful, write that down. This is 100% a leadership-driven business, and leaders are found, not made. Leaders are found, not made. Leaders are found, not made. I can't say that too many times. So what we all need to be doing is continuing to prospect so that we can find leaders, watch this, who will be willing to take action because they're already fueled by a big why. That's the difference, folks. That's the difference, right? People who are already fueled by a big why are, generally speaking, what we would all classify as, ooh, this leader is going to change my business. It doesn't matter if they've built a big network marketing group or not. We would view, generally speaking, people as leaders in life who are being fueled by the pursuit of a big why. And that's why the saying says that they're found, not made. Because we can teach you guys all the techniques in the world, but if we built the perfect, let's just go back to the Ferrari. If we rolled a Ferrari out in the driveway for you right now and let you drive it, but there was no fuel in it, how much good did it do you? Right? This is why leaders are found, they're not made, because they've put the fuel, the proper fuel, in the tank. They're fueled by a big why. And here's how the saying goes. You guys have all heard this before as well. A big why... A big enough why will always overcome the required how. A big enough why will always overcome the required how. So there is a how to everything, but if your why is big enough, you'll figure it out. Now, ain't it great, hallelujah, that none of you are stuck in that boat? We're plugged into the most phenomenal team of leaders in FGXpress that if you'll just reach out and call those of us that have been doing this a while, you won't have to figure it out, but understand one thing. You could take away all of Rob's skills and leave him with his why. Literally, like erase that part of his brain. You can take away all of his skills. All of them. And as long as the why stays intact, he'll be right back in this house with the right exact same result in another handful of months. Because the why is what does it, you guys. It's about the why. As long as you don't take away that wife and those kids that he fights for every day, you can take away all the skills. He'll get the skills back because the why is going to force him into action, which is where the skills come from anyway. You guys following me?
Oh, yeah.
It's great that we have all this training, but it doesn't do you any good if you don't get after it. That's why we talk about a why so much. Because all you need to do is get after it. When you connect with your why, you're going to get it. Right? I'm going to prove a point. I'm going to prove a point. How many of you guys have people on your team already in FGXpress that are not here right now? Yeah. So, how much is all this knowledge that's getting shared today benefiting their business right now? It's not! Right? Let me ask you guys another question. How many of you before yesterday had heard of Eric Worre and the book GoPro? How many of you before yesterday had heard of who Eric Worre is in the book GoPro? How many of you? Let me put the hands up. I want to see them. I want to see them. Okay, leave your hands up. How many of you have read the book GoPro? How many of you have completely read the book GoPro and gone through it? Okay, what you need to know. Here's what all you need to know because you can't see everything. Half the hands that said they'd heard of it, half those hands went down. Case in point, knowledge isn't going to do you a dang bit of good if you don't put it into action. How much good did it do all the hands that went down who had heard of the book GoPro and haven't read it yet?
Right.
Do you guys get me? Are you following the point I'm making? I really hope. Okay, my final thoughts. This is also part of where the warning came in, but I feel like you guys deserve the truth. Here's what you need to know. Here's what you need to know. This business and any outcome tied to this business is not about you. It's not about any of you. It's not about you at all. And choosing not to take action, selfish, selfish, selfish.
Amen.
Sorry. I hope your heart is convicted. I do, because I want to provoke action in you guys. Is that fair? I want to provoke action in you guys, because that's where your blessing's going to come from. That's where your breakthrough's going to come from.
Right.
Choosing not to take action, it's a little bit arrogant. It basically says that you think it's all about you. You think it's all about you. Guys, fear in this business, again, I told my story about Nehemiah earlier. He went and asked the king for provisions to rebuild a city where the king could have put him to death like that. Right? You understand that that's legitimate fear? Fear in this industry is false evidence appearing real. There's nothing to really, truly be afraid of. So the concept of fear in this business is arrogant. Because what if somebody makes you feel awkward? Oh no! So what? So what? It goes back to the why, guys. When your why is big enough, you know what his skin is? I mean, he still needs to be loved on, so we love on Rob. But for the most part, in purely a business context, here's what I want you to know. You know what his skin is? Teflon. Why? Because that's the coating that your why gives you. You get Teflon skin, it just rolls off. The silly little things that bother amateurs, what Eric Worre talks about, they don't bother pros. Because pros get clear on their why. And the why creates a Teflon coating for you that all these other little ancillary excuses, they just bounce off. They don't impact you. They don't make you course correct. Right? It's like Rob talked about today. You become a rock instead of the water. Water's forced to go around the rock in a river. Right? So, selfish, selfish, selfish. And really, folks, here's what the top earners, right? We heard this yesterday, even from these under 30-year-olds. Here's one of the things that they also all had in common. Massive action was one of them. Here's the other one that I think in their own different words, each one of them echoed. How do you know that the person you're not reaching out to isn't praying for something just like this, and that person's the breakthrough in your business that you're praying for? Yeah. How do you know that the people you're choosing not to reach out to out of arrogant fear about how they might make you feel if they say no, how do you know those same people aren't praying for something like this, and that very same person is the breakthrough that each and every one of you is praying for?
That's right. Sure.
That's just why it's selfish, guys. So here's my last question for you, and I'm out of here. I'm not leaving, I'm just saying I'm done. So let me ask you guys a question. This is genuine. I want you to write this answer down. Type it down, text it to yourself down, write it down. This is not rhetorical. What are you willing to give up for the next 60 days to run hard enough to create momentum for 2015? What are you willing to give up for the next 60 days to equip you to run hard enough to spark off your momentum for 2015? The reason I say that is because all of us are using all 24 hours in a day right now. And if we don't have the momentum in our lives that's taking us closer towards our dreams at the rate at which we want to move closer to our dreams, then some of our behaviors have to change. Does that make sense? It's just common sense. I'll tell you mine. I'm going to be transparent and accountable right now. Here's mine. I really don't like to start my day without going to the gym. But I'll tell you this, because I am not letting busyness steal my time to create momentum for my family going into 2015. If my butt is not in the gym by 6:30, I just lost the privilege of going. That's it. For me, that's it, because that makes the difference in my day. If I don't get to the gym till 7:30 or 8, that just stole an hour and a half of prospecting time from me. So if I'm not in the gym, you can call me, any of you can call me. If I'm not in the gym by 6:30, I lost the privilege to go that day, because I don't want to I'm not out trying to be a great bodybuilder. I'm not trying to be a great provider for my family and a great leader for my FGX team. You following me? I like to work out, but my why has nothing to do with working out. You guys following me? So what are you willing to give up for the next 60 days to put yourself in a position to take action that you're not currently taking so that you can have a different outcome for 2015? I love you guys. Thanks for letting me share.